It's November 24th, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. At Portland International Airport, a well-dressed man in his He wears a black suit, white shirt, skinny black tie, sunglasses, and a confident expression. He pays in cash and buys a one-way ticket to Seattle on Northwest Orient Flight 305. He writes his name as Dan Cooper. Flight 305 is a short 30-minute trip, nothing special. Just a regular Boeing 727 with 36 passengers and 6 crew members. The weather is gray, rainy. Everyone's thinking about the holiday weekend. No one knows that in just a few minutes they'll be part of the greatest unsolved mystery in American history. After the plane takes off around 2:50 p.m., Dan Cooper quietly hands a note to the flight attendant, Florence Schaffner. At first she thinks it's just another phone number from a flirtatious passenger. She slips it into her pocket without looking. But then, the man leans in and whispers calmly, "Miss, you'd better read that note. I have a bomb." Florence's smile vanishes. She opens the note. It reads, "I have a bomb in my briefcase. I want you to sit next to me." Trembling, she sits beside him. Cooper opens his briefcase just enough to show red sticks and wires. It looks like a real bomb. He tells her his demands $200,000 in unmarked cash, 4 parachutes, a fuel truck ready in Seattle. No police interference. Florence walks to the cockpit and relays the message to the captain. Shocked, the crew contacts air traffic control and the FBI. But Cooper's calm, eerily calm. He lights a cigarette, orders a bourbon and soda, and politely chats with the crew. No yelling, no panic, just business. While the plane circles over Puget Sound to buy time, the airline quickly gathers the ransom money from local banks. All the serial numbers are recorded. Parachutes are borrowed from a nearby skydiving school. By the time the plane lands in Seattle around 5:40 p.m., everything is ready. Cooper allows all 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants to leave. He keeps 4 crew members and 2 pilots and 2 attendants on board. They refuel the plane. Now Cooper gives new instructions. He wants the plane to head south toward Mexico City, but with very specific flight settings. Keep the altitude at 10,000 feet, fly at a slow 200 knots. Keep the landing gear down, cabin lights dimmed. Rear stairway unlocked. These are odd demands, unless you know how to jump out of a plane. At 7:40 p.m., Flight 305 takes off again, this time with just 5 people aboard, Cooper and the remaining crew. The weather is stormy. Visibility is low. Somewhere between Seattle and Reno, Nevada, around 8:13 p.m., the crew feels a sudden pressure bump in the cabin. They don't know it yet, but Dan Cooper is gone. He jumped out of the rear stairway into the cold, dark, pouring rain, wearing just a suit, loafers, and a parachute, carrying a bag full of cash. No one saw him jump. The plane lands safely in Reno. FBI agents rush in, but Cooper is already long gone. And just like that, a ghost enters American folklore. The search begins immediately. Hundreds of soldiers, police officers, and FBI agents comb the forests of southwest Washington, especially near the Lewis River area, the most likely place Cooper might have landed. But nothing is found. Not the parachute, not the briefcase, not the body, not the money. For weeks, then months, then years, the FBI investigates every possible lead. They interview thousands of people, check military records, look into missing persons reports, and even examine skydiving clubs. They find a few clues: a black clip-on tie left on Cooper's seat, cigarette butts, which were later lost by the FBI, and the exact flight path still. There's no sign of the man, no trace of a landing, no confirmed sighting. Cooper has vanished without a trace. 9 years later, in 1980, an unexpected break. An 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram is digging along the Columbia River, near Vancouver, Washington, when he finds 3 rotting bundles of cash buried in the sand. It adds up to $5,800. The serial numbers match the Cooper ransom money. But here's the strange part. The bills are water damaged. They're far from the suspected landing zone, and the rest of the money, is nearly $194,000, is still missing. Did the money wash downstream? Did Cooper bury it, or did he die and it ended up there by accident? No one knows. The discovery raises more questions than answers. Over the years, dozens of suspects are investigated. One of the most famous is Richard Floyd McCoy, a former Army pilot who hijacked a plane in 1972 in almost the exact same way. He jumped out with a parachute and $500,000, but he was caught 2 days later. Many believe he was Cooper, but the FBI says the evidence doesn't match. McCoy also denied it until he died in a shootout with the FBI in 1974. Another suspect, Kenneth Christensen, was a former paratrooper and airline employee. He lived quietly, and after his death, suspicious details came out. Large amounts of unexplained cash, a sudden property purchase, and a physical resemblance to Cooper. But again, no hard proof. Others include Robert Rackstraw, a Vietnam vet with parachuting experience and a long criminal history. In 2018, a team of journalists claimed they decoded a message from Cooper's letter that named Rackstraw, but the FBI didn't buy it. Then there was Lynn Doyle Cooper, a man whose own nephew came forward saying he believed his uncle was D.B. Cooper. He remembered strange events from that night, and his uncle returned home bruised, but DNA didn't match the tie. None of these men were ever charged, and none of the theories ever closed the case. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI officially closed the investigation. They called it the longest and most exhaustive manhunt in agency history, but without new evidence, they admitted, the trail had gone cold. And yet, Cooper never faded from memory. He became a legend. Books, TV shows, movies, podcasts all explored his story. He was portrayed as everything from a criminal mastermind to a modern-day Robin Hood. Even today, he shows up in pop culture, from Loki to Prison Break. Why? Because Cooper wasn't just a thief, he was a mystery. He pulled off the perfect crime. No one got hurt. He outsmarted the system. He disappeared like smoke, and he left behind the ultimate question: did he survive, or did he die that night in the woods? If he did survive, he'd be in his 90s today, maybe sitting quietly in a nursing home watching documentaries about himself, smiling. Or maybe he never existed at all the way we imagined him. No one really knows. That's what makes it so haunting. Because in the end, D.B. Cooper wasn't just a man on a plane. He became a myth.